Hey, this is Max. I am back with another CSR2 video. This time it is the Ford GT. This is this season's Prestige Cup car. Before you ask, I'm going to tell you, do not use this car for T5 in Tempest 3. It is simply not fast enough to accomplish the job. So while you can build this car as part of the PC Cup this season, you certainly do not want to be looking at this car potentially as your future Tempest 3 T5 car. Now, what I'm doing is I'm doing what I usually show, which is the effect of the stage 6s on the cars. But before we get to that point, let's take a look at where this car sits with full stage 5. It is not a very fast car, as I indicated. And even if you adjust some of the things, and I'm not going to go for absolute best tune possible, it will take too long to showcase, but I will give you an idea that this car runs about a 10.9 range. With stage 5, you may be able to get it up to 10.8s with the really good tune, but generally speaking, it's a very slow car. And that's really a sad thing for this car. It's a beautiful car, and I really wish it was faster. Certainly, it should be faster. It deserves to be faster than a 9.0 maxed. So even though it could hit some pretty decent times, almost at the 9-second range maxed out, it still doesn't make it easy to hit those numbers. And again, when you're facing Tempest 3 T5 boss, you would more likely than not lose that. So it's not worth even looking into for that purpose. So at stage 5, you're looking at about 10.906. Now, assuming natural motion makes it somewhat difficult this season for you, and put the Prestige Cup at about 10.4, what you'll be facing is potentially dealing with getting the right stage 6 to get the job done. So let's start off with Nitrous. This is always a big one. Usually when Nitrous is installed, with some tuning, the car can go down quite a bit in time. Let's take a look at what it does here. So with the Nitrous, you will now have a longer duration available to you. So now you can do one of these jobs where you put it right to 5.5, but it gives you a nice bump in Evo. And bump in Evo means a nice bump in performance. You're down to 10.56 without touching anything else. Now, you can also play with some of the other settings to see if any of that actually helps, which looks like a little more tire grip is helping here to increase the performance. So 10.53 and maybe 10.534. Ooh, not bad. We're making some progress here. So 10.52 is where you would end up with just Nitrous. That means Nitrous does about a 4/10 drop. That's very important. This car is heavy on Nitrous and certainly needs it to perform well. What about body? Let's take a look at body. So with the body, the car's lighter, so you may be able to get a certain amount of performance out of it just from that. Now, mind you, you have to watch your Nitrous. Now you have to reset the duration because the stage 5 durations are much shorter, and you probably want it around 4.0, 4.1 for this car. Just with that, 10.3. Holy crap, that's quick. Wait a minute, did I forget to take the Nitrous out? That's more impressive than Nitrous. Good Lord, this car really likes this body. I didn't expect that, to be honest. I never looked into this before, but this is incredible. 10.3, and I didn't even tune it yet. So if 10.4 was to go for this season for some reason, this one part will get you there. And look, it can do even better. Let me see if I can get it to a 10.32. 34, okay. Very, very impressive. And if I can get into just a few more points. Nope, looks like it's stuck there, but that's incredible. 10.337. Now, I can tell you, I probably won't hit that number when I drive it. This car is a little bit difficult to drive, but that's still a very impressive stage 6. If these two come together, you might be in the 9s. So, body, much bigger than I thought. That was a big surprise. Let's take a look at tire now. Tire, this is a grippy car. I'm not sure more tire is going to help it without power. With extra power, I would say the tire would definitely help quite a bit. In this case, it does not. 10.9 to about a 10.8. Can you reduce grip to give it a little more? Yes and no, right? What about a more aggressive gearing? Maybe that'll help. It does, but not by much. Your tuning margin is pretty thin, so that'll probably bump it to a 10.7. Okay, so the tire's not as impressive as body did. So right now, body's number 1. Nitrous is currently sitting happy at number 2. Tire, I don't know. That's probably towards the lower half of the 7 that we have available. Let's try transmission now. Transmission traditionally is good for some cars and really useless for others. So let's see where this is sitting with just the trans. 10.42. Now trans is big for this car too. That's impressive, really. I mean, these single stage 6s are dropping the car's performance by 5/10. So this car has the potential of hitting some decent numbers. I would hope Natural Motion does not make the Prestige Cup all the way into the 9s. That would be kind of difficult to hit with just 1 or 2, but looks like 10.4, 10.3s are definitely possible if you get the right S6. 10.428, that is as good as Nitrous. So Nitrous and Trans, almost a tie there. I would give the edge to Nitrous at this point. I think it did a little better, but let's move on to Engine. Now, Engine is not giving us a huge bump, or is it? That's not bad. The Evo went up quite a bit. That might be 10.698. Okay, so it's better than Tire, but it's not super. Let's see if maybe a little bit more power helps us with the top speed. Not really. So it didn't really help that much once it sets the numbers for you, but it does do a little better job than Tire. See a little extra grip maybe helping? Yes, it does. Not by a huge amount, but it does. Okay, 10.681, there it is. Not bad. I would say Tire is now in the middle. I mean, Engine, I'm sorry, Engine. Tire's still on the bottom. So Engine, so right now we're looking at body being number 1, Nitrous and Trans about the same, Engine, Tire. So we have 2 more to go, and neither one of these traditionally does much, so I'm not holding my breath that they will do a whole lot here either. Look at that Evo. It didn't even tweak the Evo at all. That's not a good sign. Probably going to be that barely moved the performance at all. So Turbo, traditionally being a failure, is currently still a failure. That's really sad. I had hoped Turbo would do more. It is now fallen under or very close to Tire. So Turbo, definitely not a big boy here. This is one of those weak mods that you almost don't see a difference when you install. That leaves us good old Intake. And how does Intake perform? From the limited change in anything, I would say not much. Might be slightly better than Turbo. By a hair. Very little bit extra performance than Turbo. Very little. Very little. So 1000 flat. Yeah, so it does beat Turbo. I think it beats Tire too. So there you have it. The 7 contenders for stage 6, and the surprising winner in this case was body mod. An S6 body will get you straight into 10.3 range. What if we get body and something good like Nitrous? Would that get us into the 9s? Let's take a look. I was really shocked. I think it'll put us right near the 10.1 range. I'm not sure it'll get you into the 9s though. Yeah, 10.2. So that's a little disappointing. So in combination, oh wait, what am I saying? I haven't tweaked the Nitrous yet. Duh. What are you doing, Max? Pay attention. Well, it's almost 12. I'm a little tired. 10.0. Okay, almost into the 9s. I think with a little bit more tweaking, you may be able to actually get it into a 9.9 range with this car, with those 2 stage 6. So maybe not, but very close to 10s. Then that's impressive for a car like this with 2-stage 6, almost a full second drop. So, well, what else can this car do? Well, it is not very fast, right? We know that. It does nice 0 to 60, which is good for 0 to 60 challenges. But because it's so slow, it's not really a Tempest choice for me. I just kind of use it for live racing, and generally it's been sitting around more than it's doing anything. So what about fusions? How do you get all these fusions? Well, the best place to get fusions for this car would be right from T1 and T3. T1 because you have the Ford Festiva, which, or what am I saying? Fiesta, sorry, I always call it Festiva for some reason. So the Fiesta ST will give you all your commons and rares. You can just pull this car very quickly because they deliver quick and get yourself all the common and rares for this car that you need. And there's the Ford Supply Cup, which I'm going to address in a minute. And then you have the good old Mustang GT from T3, which isn't that expensive and also delivers relatively quickly. So this one over time can give you those epics you need, and you need a lot. This car needs 41 epic fusions, so you're going to be pulling a lot of Ford GT premiums if you want to fill those up. Fortunately, again, they're not super expensive, and you can over time get enough money to get that together. So again, quick recap: your order of preferred as 6 would be body, nitrous, transmission being the top, and then turbo, intake, and tire being on the bottom. And the difference is very substantial. You could potentially not even get into the 10.5s with 3 of the worst modifications for this car combined. So that's concerning. I mean, it becomes that game of luck of the draw again. If I get lucky, I'll be all right. I don't get lucky, I could be frustrated and stuck. So that is the nature of every Prestige Cup. You just have to kind of roll with it. From what I'm seeing right now, this is not very good modifications. Even with the addition of 3, we are barely out of the 10.6 range. So you dropped maybe 3/10 with 3S6. Okay, and that's tire, intake, and turbo combined. So 2 that gets you the 10-second flat, 3 that barely gets you 3/10 off. That is the way this game works, and that is unfortunately where luck comes in. If you get the right ones, you're good. You don't get the right ones, you'll be banging your head against the wall for the rest of the season. I hope that you do get at least one of the good ones, and certainly if you get body, you will do very well. Now, finally, can this car be used for its own cup for the supply cup? Absolutely. This car has a down tune. It's quite simple. You just keep dropping the tire grip until you see a substantial drop in Evo. Typical grip induced down tune that most of these cars are capable of. And if you see that, you are now defeating Dyno, and therefore you can go into a supply cup with this car. Even if you don't have the right S6s, it doesn't matter. The supply cup really won't be that difficult. It'll be adjusted for you, and you will be able to beat it without a problem. This will not work for PC Cup. As you recall, I mentioned at every video that the PC Cup has set target times. It's not adjusted according to your modifications, so it doesn't take account of the fact that you're down tuning the car. You still have to beat the actual time that you need to beat. But for Supply Cup, which is adjusted according to the level of modification of your car, much like a live lobby, it does take account of your dyno, which means this will give you a nice winnable margin. For Ford, you don't really have a lot of problem. I mean, you can win the Supply Cup with a maxed Fiesta. You could win it with the Focus RS. You could do it with a Mustang. So this is not as difficult as, say, one of those new cups where the car is the only one of its make. Those are much more difficult. So overall, this season won't be that bad. And I think if you get lucky with the S6s and Natural Motion doesn't make the Supply Cup much, the Prestige Cup much more difficult than, say, 10.4, we'll be good to go. And with that, I am going to call it a night. It's relatively late, and I need to get up for work tomorrow. I appreciate you watching the video, and I hope the little Stage 6 modification effects will be helpful to you as you progress through the season. Please subscribe to the channel. If you do, you will get notifications when I put these videos up, and it certainly helps if you also make comments and ask questions on my channel. I am always around to try to help out other players. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.